Irina, thanks very much for joining us. Looking at the sustainability side, how does that play into the debt side, would you say?
Well, I think it's the same challenge throughout. I think we are finding ourselves in a place where the targets are clearly set, particularly when it comes to the net carbon neutrality, but also ESG is no longer about disclosure, it's all about action. And many investors, particularly the institutional investors, already see ESG strategy and to what extent it's embedded into the execution, be it the equity side or the debt side, as a deal breaker. And I think it's no different for non-listed real estate debt. We speak with our members on a proactive basis, and they are eager and in search to, conform to standards, guidelines in terms of reporting, in terms of due diligence process as well. It's a little bit tricky given a lot of legislative changes are still to be finalized, and yet the reporting it needs to be done or starting to be done now. But we as an industry are working together, and I think there is definitely a will from investors 100%, but also from the non-traditional lenders in the debt space also to try to do better and comply as standard as possible when it comes to ESG reporting.
And Irina, we've seen a bigger focus in terms of risk challenges in the market, both from COVID, but also inflation, the war in Ukraine, geopolitical uncertainty. I suppose, what are you seeing at the moment, and what are investors seeing, I guess, as some of the challenges, particularly around the financing side?
Well, I think there are so many challenges, it's quite difficult to generalize. I think the way to think about it, we have different economic environment, or we're moving into different economic environment, different interest rate environment, the inflationary pressure which is expected to stay in, and that all of it will have an impact on decision making. I think what it resonates with me first and foremost is that we cannot generalize, and I think it's about really approaching every allocation decision making, be it from individual asset on the equity side or from the loan on the debt side. It's about bottom-up decision making and assessing the location, the tenure, the geography, and the asset individually to really understand what its pathway in terms of ESG agenda is also. So it's less about big picture, bottom-up, is the way to go, because I think the yield compression that we have seen driving the returns over the last few years is now a thing of the past, and therefore value preservation, value creation through tenant management or enhancement of the value of the asset is the way forward.
Great, really interesting to catch up. Thanks very much for joining us, Irina.
Thank you, Richard.